Oh. And welcome to the first ever episode of Casually Conducting, or as the name says, the Casually Conducting podcast open to discuss the topics from us and people of the world. I'm here with my co-host Simon. Please introduce yourself to the people. Hello, everybody. I'm Simon, and I'm your co-host. We'll be having a good, fun time today. We will talk about spirituality, critical theory, and whatever else comes up in the chat. Please give us topics. We're more than open. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to set up future conversations with or about you guys and each other. We're talking about spirituality today. Spirituality involves the recognition of a feeling or sense or belief that there's something greater than yourself, something more to being human sensory experience, and that a greater whole of which we are part, cosmic or divine in nature. So what you're saying is it's essentially just something higher than us. Right. It's something above humanity. Okay. What's different about that? What makes that come up in the conversation? But what makes spirituality spirituality? Yeah, exactly. I guess it's more so whenever you recognize that there is a higher power than us. Like obviously, we didn't start off with nothing. There's no way. Devil's advocate. I mean, what if there was a way? What if let's say the Big Bang Theory happened? How would you explain that right there? I mean, the Big Bang Theory is just mass explosion of matter in the universe at the beginning of time. Well, at the same time, it's been proven that even in evolution is false. What do you mean by that? Like, people say we evolved from monkeys because of how simple the genetics are between us and the classification of, gorillas, monkeys in the case of such. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But I mean, yeah, at the same time, devil's advocate, what if we did evolve from something? We're just not really accepting the fact of this is what we evolved from. Because, I mean, you gotta think, it goes all the way back to bacteria. Yeah, that's true. I've always had this thought of how life started, because let's go with the casual belief, not the spiritual belief. Let's go with life just started. What had to, do you know what had to happen to make a rock, move by itself? What to have function by itself? That's a strange concept. So, but there had to be something there to create it, right? Exactly. Let's just say the universe is just bigger than what we think it is. Let's say that the universe itself is just this tiny speck, and everything else past what we can imagine, infinitely big, created the universe. What? How would we figure out that something like that existed? Hello, Blazed Eduardo. Which individual? Who's the hard one to hear, me or Parker over there? We'll get this ironed out real quick. All right, go ahead and say something, Parker. I'm not receiving any confirmation of nor is better nor worse. So I guess we'll just keep going from here. Yeah, that sounds good. Where were we at? Talking about where the universe started. Hey, boys, how you doing, man? Actually, I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all. That's weird. Wait, maybe it is this microphone. What the frick? I'm confused as frick. All right, what about that? Is that better? Iron out first podcast. There we go. Okay, that's a lot better. All right. You should be able to hear us both equally as good now. All right. So back to the whole theory of spirituality and where the universe created and all. I mean, and science tries to denounce, the reasonings of God and other religions, trying to say that just science in general is the basis for everything. Well, not really. Science is more of an eye which we see. It's more of the understanding of what's around us. It's not really I'm trying to prove you wrong kind of thing. It's just a observation. Yeah, but trying to think of how to. It's like they try to use evidence of just this planet to make the basis of a whole universe. Right. I see what you mean. Right. And it's like the fact of, I like how we're getting from spirituality to, ways of the universe. Yeah. Gotta tie it back in somehow. But there's something that's out there that's bigger than us. Even like throwing the concept of religion, God out the window, there's got to be something out there. I mean, you can even go to the side of, being like what society classifies it now as a witch in an understanding of sorts. Yeah. With all the gems and stones that they use to, harness energy to, manifest things. That, in a sense, can even be classified as spirituality. Yeah. Because you realize that there's something bigger than yourself, and you're harnessing energy from materials that are on this earth. But I mean, us in a whole, like, we're not the universe. It's more so, and I mean, even the processes that happen here on Earth. All right, just so you can only hear me now. Hello. All right, let's do some adjustments. All right, I think what's happening is it's taking me from the, because we're in two different positions, I think it's taking my audio, since you're closer to it, and just kind of numbing me out, if that makes sense. Getting rid of me, because I'm just out there. All right, what about now? Say something, Parker.
All right, what about now?
How do we sound? Testing, testing. Yeah, I think this sounds good. I think this is better. That's good. All right, cool, good. Thank you, Mr. Kevin Monroe. I don't know who that guy is, but shout out to him.
All right, so we were back to like the explaining the inner workings of the earth and how we gotta support that there is something bigger than us.
Well, how could you prove that there is something that is so massive that you couldn't understand it? How did that work?
Like, explain what you mean?
Like, okay, let's say that we have God, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say God, whether you believe in him or not, just for this example, let's just say God is an entity.
Yeah.
Okay? We are also entities. But God is so unconsequently big from our understanding that, let's say we even found God, would we be able to tell that he is God? Or would he just be another thing in the cosmos that we wouldn't understand?
With God himself being, he is a deity. God himself does not have or I guess in a spiritual sense, itself doesn't have a physical form, which goes in the different divisions of, like Jehovah's Witnesses, for example. They believe that Jesus and God was not the same person, which is understandable because Jesus has said, I'm no greater than my Father. But at the same time, God sent his son to die for us. And being a deity, you have to put your energy into a vessel so that you can feel what's going on. Ethan Hill, thank you for joining.
I see what you mean. It's definitely a conversation that needs to be had, though. Something like that. If we're dealing with the problem of, okay, let's say nobody believes in God. Okay, the problem in that situation would be there is nothing to look forward to. It kind of keeps everybody in the same
Spiritual class.
Yeah,
kinda.
yeah. There's no diversity, which keeps things, I'm not going to say boring, but lifeless. There's no reason without God.
I mean, we even have people going on now that believe on the reason of self-reasoning. Like, we give ourselves a reason as a basis for our existence. Like, I was talking with somebody one day and I said, I found my purpose here on earth, which is to, help people, make people laugh. It was like, well, is it your purpose or is it a reason to justify why you're here on this earth?
Well, I mean, with what we have, we can't really, what's the difference? Like, justification, hopefulness, it's all based around the same parameters of finding a reason,
Yeah.
Maybe it's just our own blindness. Maybe we put ourselves in situations that just cause us to be more hopeful, and that maybe that's God.
Well, in our blindness, I mean, let's just think, for example, like that's the whole basis of like for the denomination of the religion of Christianity, walking by faith, not by sight.
Yeah.
Obviously, at this point, I mean, we're not in Jesus' timeline. We haven't seen a physical being of God himself, which brings us to the denomination of, like atheists. Atheists don't believe in anything. They believe we're here on earth, we die, we go to the dirt, the end. Atheists, no, agnostic believe that there's something higher than us. They don't know what.
They just don't choose a specific religion, right?
Right.
Well, that's understandable. Honestly, my personal opinion, I could never understand atheism. It's such a downer.
I mean, like, there's no reason going around in life just living depressed. Just like all days are bad, everything's bad. My drive to work in 20 minutes is going to be bad. My 8-hour shift is going to be bad. I guess it's more so you find something in your life to fill the void in your soul, I guess.
What would that be? With atheism, it would be what? Getting physical stuff, I assume, right? Like you work for money, building your house, your life would be built off of everything you do.
And that being
And that would
said,
be your.
it's being built on nothing.
There is no foundation.
There's no
point.
foundation for your actions.
Yeah, there'd be no point without religion.
Or spirituality.
Yeah. That's depressing. I couldn't do that.
But going back to spirituality in the universe, there's different energies that we as humans harness but don't realize.
What do you mean by that?
Like, for example, reading emotions. Not everybody can do that.
So you mean like abilities?
Yes.
Like
well, what one?
gifts.
Yeah, one would classify as supernatural abilities.
Supernatural abilities. That's. What would you consider a supernatural ability?
Something in between the classification of human and like God, but with a small g, kind of like Rome, what they classify as Roman God and stuff like that. I wouldn't say all atheists feel empty. A lot of them feel independent and self-fulfilled.
Self-fulfilled in a sense of hard work, or
I think it's more so on the justification basis, like the self-reasoning. Like what I was talking about earlier, my air quote purpose for being here on earth is to help people and make people laugh.
Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to insult atheists or anything, but could self-fulfillment be confused with self-ignorance? Like you know how some people could lie to themselves to the point where they believe in the lie? Could that be represented as the same idea with self-fulfillment in this sense, talking about atheists?
This is why a lot of rich people are unhappy without money. Money is their god. Yeah, that's the sad part of our society that we've turned into. We don't really find as many people as we did in previous generations where everybody just helped everybody. Everybody kept everybody in a good state of mind. Even, being neighbors that you may have only seen, like, going down the road.
You could also talk about the problem with rich people, how let's say an atheistic rich person, let's say like Taylor Swift, for example, a whole bunch of love songs, but she's always sad.
It's like she's still in love with the same high school boy, just writing different songs about the one guy.
And it gets to a point where she has all this money, but she still continues to feel unfulfilled in her life. She feels like there's still more that needs to happen.
And that's one of the problems I find with atheism is there's not it's a bottomless pit. You can't ever get to a point where you are so happy that you just sit there doing nothing because you can't.
I mean, you can be content with life itself and not have any justification for anything. Like, you can like what you do in life, but I think atheists do have things to fill voids. Some atheists become obsessed with trying to debunk Christianity or religion in general. Maybe that's how they fill the void.
Well, that's because Christianity would be a threat to their belief system. Same with Christianity. A whole bunch of Christians seem to seek out and destroy the idea of atheists because it is in both perspectives, it is something that damages their beliefs, that shakes the foundation, Not necessarily destroys the foundation. I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong, but it definitely makes it shaky, that's for sure.
I think it's more so you could say that atheists go a lot along with the self-justification reasoning.
Sure.
Like, you can even classify atheists as a spirituality because they find that the reason or the thing that's above them is trying to debunk Christianity. Not and like in the same fact of not believing in anything, you still have certain practices and rituals that you do.
But that would be morals, not necessarily a spiritual belief, but a literal belief.
Well, but then again, spiritual being something higher than yourself. Like that they basically trying to spend their life trying to denounce something. Even life itself.
But still, I don't see how you could find I don't see how you could find contempt in denouncing something that so many find joy from, and faith and stability from.
Take a look at Marilyn Manson, for example. He went all those years, coming out with albums such as like The Antichrist something.
I thought he was just doing that for attention.
No, at that point in his life, he was not believing in anything. He was denouncing Christianity, but he is a born again Christian, so he claims.
Okay.
But
I haven't heard a lot about him, so I don't.
We can even go farther past somebody being a born again Christian. Let's take Stephen Hawking, for example. Stephen Hawking was the world's renowned atheist. Like, when you found atheist in the dictionary, Stephen Hawking's picture was right beside it. Do you know what Stephen Hawking's last words were?
Honestly, I don't.
God is real.
For real.
I will look it up right now.
Do it. His last words were, "God is real." I gotta hear this.
You can make the joke that
What kind of God is he talking about? Is he just talking about God in general, or
that's what I'm thinking.
a higher being, or Christianity's God, or Allah?
It may have been a rumor because this all I'm finding now is the last words in his book. Unleash your imagination, shape the future. My apologies.
That's fine though. We found out that was just a rumor. Okay. But Stephen Hawking was a smart man. Like, The same way ministries enjoy spreading the word of God, they enjoy it and thrive to do it every day. I think if they found it depressing, they wouldn't thrive to do it. I'm not saying the action itself is depressing. I'm saying from a third person standpoint, trying to debunk somebody's way of life is depressing.
So, like, I think more so if they found it not useful, but not result finding or worthy of doing so. Because going back in, the Bible and all with the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, the city was, from what the Bible says, was destroyed in a mass fire destruction.
Yeah.
They have found remains of something similar in that area. Big crater holes, burn damages, and stuff like that. The pillar of salt where Lot's wife was turned into. So there's no way that our justification for this moment is nothing.
How about just doing stuff is to keep your mind off of the inevitable? Let's say you're an atheist. What would be the worst fear of an atheist? Would it be to die? Would that be the worst fear?
Well, because atheists know that they're going to die.
I mean, of course, we all know we're going to die.
I mean, it'd be like the anti-fear of what Christians believe. It's like, what if we die and none of this is real?
So you're saying like
atheist it's like what I would guess an atheist's biggest fear is
dying and there being
something.
That'd be a bummer. Man,
but I guess breaking it down, believing in something is better than believing in nothing.
I agree with that, yeah. Putting your faith out there definitely makes life harder, though. It's not something that should be just played with.
Yeah, but what's the worst fear of anyone who believes in anything being incorrect in your beliefs? That is absolutely right.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Just being wrong. Being wrong is such a hard and devastating thing to deal with.
Well, it's more so it's hard to accept that you're wrong for most people.
Exactly. Especially with foundational things. With things that would shake your entire understanding of everything. Let's say, for example, I got a Sprite bottle right here. All right, let's say this Sprite bottle, I was completely convinced that it was blue, okay? And I just called green blue for no reason. That me finding out that it was green, because people would be like, dude, that's obviously green. Me finding out that it would be green would be like, what? No, I have called that blue you are wrong. This is blue.
And then it goes on to the point of how far people will go to actually disprove your belief.
That also goes with how far you will go to believe in your own belief.
To stand your ground.
When does it become too much, though? When does somebody need to put a stop to their own ideas?
I mean, I guess you got to find like a common ground, agree to disagree. Hey, this is what you believe. This is what I believe.
That comes into the problem of conflicting ideas with people in real life. Let's say the idea of SJW and that stuff, woke stuff, and everything else. I mean, there's a whole bunch of conflicting ideas right there, but we have to live with each other. We have to accept that they believe that and everybody else believes that,
So if you believe in nothing and then someone else's religion was actual and you get no second chances after you die. That's hard to believe.
Why would you believe it? By believing it, you would have accepted that you were wrong and you would not be going to where you thought.
Or where you were disproving.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just like you said earlier, the end's inevitable. We're all going to die.
Yeah.
But I guess it's more so what you choose to believe in to make life what you perceive. It's basically what you want your life to be.
There's a lot of people, though, that believe life goes on past death, you know? So why would they care about this life? What makes them care about this life? It's weird. It's a weird thought because, let's say Christianity, for example, if you're a Christian, you believe, most of the time, you believe that there's life eternally with God after death.
The afterlife, yeah.
Yeah. And that's comforting, you know, there's nothing wrong with dying, but the problem is there still is. You still feel pain, anguish, despair, and all these negative emotions till death. And that, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's hard, really hard to accept something like that.
Being born in a situation like this, our bodies are born in sin. Like, we were born into a world of sin, dated all the way back to what people believe to be the event of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Whenever they both bit from the forbidden, was it Tree of Knowledge?
Wisdom. Tree of Wisdom, I think it was. Either way.
That right there is what created the basis for why we live in the world we live in. It just so happened that our time today has come from innovations and different technologies that's come along the way.
That's just how life works. Things are going to move on. What I'm talking about is death. How come people are so stern in their beliefs and yet still afraid to die? It's strange. Does that mean you truly believe if you're still afraid to die? Me as a Christian, I worry about things like that. It scares me, you know. But I try to stay true, you know. I pray when I need to.
I wish I'd be able to join you guys in this talk. Sadly, I'm at work for a while. Well, hey, we're just appreciative that you joined in to just view and listen and give us ideas.
We're just hanging out and talking, man. So you could join in anytime we're live. Don't subscribe to this YouTube, by the way. Go to Casually Conducting. I'll put a link in eventually, maybe.
It's just a tech channel for the moment.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
We had a whole bunch of technical difficulties.
But hey, it's first episode for a reason. Yeah. But we're going to be expanding, you know, different platforms, Discord, have different people come in.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess more so like a talk show, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, I like that. Just some casual dudes casually conducting conversations.
You ready for the next topic?
Yeah, sure. What you got?
Critical theory.
Critical theory. Oh, God. It's an interesting one, that's for sure. I think it's a bit much.
There's nothing wrong with critiquing.
We know it's you, JD. Don't worry. We know it's you. We can have you on sometime if you want. Just hit us up. We'll set up something. I don't know.
Critical theory is a social theory that aims to critique and change society as a whole. Critical theories attempt to find the underlying assumptions in social life that keep people from fully and truly understanding how the world works.
See, when you put it like that, it sounds really good. You put it like that, it's beautiful. It's like socialism. On paper, it's beautiful.
In America. Whoa.
But for real, Yo, what's up, Zorus Gaming? How you doing today, man?
There went the bottle.
Oh God is dead.
Zorus Gaming, thank you for joining.
Critical theory, that's an interesting topic. The reason I say that is because it's so controversial. Because so many people do actually believe in critiquing others for the benefit of themselves and others.
And society too, because
Well, that's others.
society isn't, I'd say our society, but that'd be a lie. Society itself should be built on the beliefs of people as a whole and how we interconnect with one another as people. It's just, with the creation of, social media, the internet, false news.
I mean, information travels faster than it ever has in history. We're living in the future, guys. It's something to be pretty proud of. I think you should give yourself a pat on the back.
But not all people take critiquing the same. We got to keep that in mind too.
True. I mean, some people are offended by critiques. Some people find critiques enjoyable. They like fixing themselves.
Right. Like in the music industry, you're not going to put out bad music.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're doing it on purpose.
But there's expected, I guess that's the idea. There's expected critiques with life. And then there's also a point where these critiques are expected to stop. Like a point where you're going too far or somebody else is going too far. And as soon as really we want to find that limit. Where is too much critiquing? What is too much critiquing?
Is there such a thing as too much critiquing?
I mean, of course. If it gets to the point where people are getting injured,
Well, I mean, where does it come to the point of people have to be injured to make something perfect, in a sense, air quote?
Well, that's a dangerous thought. The reason I say that is because perfect is based on the person viewing it.
True. Yeah, perfect is based off of, personal opinions and different
I mean,
ruling conditions.
Hitler was making his perfect world. I don't really agree with that little bit.
6 million Jews later.
Yeah.
Blonde hair and blue eyes sort of deal. But I mean, in your craft of sorts, whatever the case may be, you want to put out good products. So you need to be willing to take critiquing and critical comments.
The problem is when people aren't willing. And also the problem is when people are willing to not shut up. Because it does get to a point where people have enough critique, for one day.
Yeah. I guess it's more so where it damages, critical comments and stuff like that is the point of where it starts your downfall, I guess.
So you're saying critiquing is good until the point where it isn't.
Right. Like, not so much it becomes so good that it's not good, more so to the fact of where you're taking it, but in a sense of what you don't want it to be.
Let's take that and put it in the real world then. What would be the point where you have to stop critiquing? Like, what is a generally accepted point to stop critiquing people?
I guess maybe you find like a single or mass consensus that this is where a certain thing needs to be. Where a point's been made or a product has been finished.
I feel like there's an emotional attachment with critiquing too. Like,
yeah.
I'd say as soon as people start being a little bit uncomfortable with the critiquing, I think that's a good point to stop. But then you also have the problem of how do you know when somebody's uncomfortable?
Body language is a key sign.
Sure, but it's hard to read every single person in the world. I mean, some people just, brush it off their shoulders and continue.
Right. And that, therefore, they don't take said criticism.
There's also people who just want to be left alone. They don't care for your opinion. And that's a good bit. That's not like a small bit of people. That's a good bit of people.
That's a good bit of the society and world as it is.
Yeah, that don't care about what you or I have to say. Like,
I mean, I'm not going to say anything if I'm whatever the case may be. Say I'm playing guitar at a concert, and the guy notices the one note that I didn't play out of the whole entire song, solo, whatever the case may be. I mean, it poses the question, who are we as people to judge?
We're receivers of a manufactured good.
I mean, let's take it to the more liberal style of the world. What about music? What about arts?
I can't stand arts, to be fair. To be honest, I don't like it at all. I think it's annoying. In a literal sense, I don't like it because it's opinion based. And to an extent, opinion based stuff is just redundant. Like, what's his name? Pablo Picasso, okay? When he was younger, he did really good portraits of people. They looked like people, you know? It was really good. And then he started to do less human-like art and went more towards shapes and colors and vibrance and everything else.
He went off the end of the abstract.
It just got to a point where it didn't make visual sense of being art, and yet people still held it as art.
I mean, as he was a renowned artist for his time.
Well, of course. That's like Will Smith going up and spitting on the stage and somebody gathering all up the spit and being like, I got it, and he sells it on eBay, you know? Anything someone popular does is going to get attention,
Right.
whether it's stupid or not. But my opinion is there needs to be a spot where people know it's stupid. I think we need common sense, you know, a point where we all need to just be like, that was dumb, that's stupid, let's move on, you know, until the said stupid thing fixes itself.
Right.
Or the person who caused it fixes it.
Judge ye not, lest ye be judged also.
That's very true, yeah.
It goes into the basis of don't judge somebody else unless your faults are at the table.
Don't judge people at all, really. People do their own stuff because they do what they love. But then at a point you need to judge people, because without judgment there are zero limitations. Now, from a religious standpoint, you don't judge people. The book judges people, and God judges people. If people make their own choices, they're being judged by God. And they will be judged when they die, when they go to heaven, or when they get into the big old court in the sky. They will be judged by God. And that is just something we have to live with. But at a certain point, we need to enforce judgment in a I'm better than you way.
Well, that's more so having a sense of a morality sense than it is judgment.
Sure.
But I mean, it kind of works hand in hand.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like me judging you for how you live your life based on how I live mine.
And by my opinion, let's say you didn't like how I lived my life, okay? I could go right back and be like, well, I don't like how you live your life. That just sets us up to be in a predicament where, okay, and who cares? You know, I don't like you, you don't like me.
It gets to a point where nobody wins.
Yeah, exactly.
So, in a sense, judgment is needed, but not at the same time. Like, I mean, I guess it's kind of redundant to say, but without judgment, or even so, just talking to people, we can't better ourselves as people, as a community, as a whole nation.
What is betterment, though? Betterment would be, by us, it would be based off of the Bible. It would be treating people how you want to be treated and respecting everyone, preaching the Lord's word and that kind of jazz,
Well, I mean, but even so, we're born with a sense of what is right and what is wrong.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
Like, whenever you wake up in the morning, you're not just going to go out and do what you know is wrong. Like, you're not going to go out killing people, murdering people, plundering villages.
I disagree with that. And the reason I disagree with that is because those are taught. They're all learned traits. Everything we believe is a learned trait that can be corrupted over time or, immediately. It really depends on the person.
But no, learned traits are more so how, learned trait is more so how you act than what you do as a person.
Well, I see us all as, when we're born, we're like a blank canvas, okay? And the artist is our parents, okay? And they paint all over this canvas, and sometimes the paint kind of, drips down, and the artist doesn't like that, so he tries to erase it and fix it,
I mean, it's not just our parents.
I mean, of course, it's the people around us, teachers, students,
And for some, it's not parents at all.
It's yourself.
Yourself, other people, what you see.
It's that canvas that falls on its face. It gets painted by itself.
It's the canvas has got messed up a little bit in shipping and handling. But, I mean, there's things that made us who we are as people today. But still, even so, you have a sense of morality, as in what's right and what's wrong. It also depends on where you're from. That too, situations living or active still has a impact on how you're brought up.
Yeah. I mean, if you sit there and let's say you're in the middle of a jungle, let's say you're like 5 years old, okay, just big enough to do stuff. You're in the middle of a jungle and you can get food here and there, you're safe in this one area. As you grow up, you're going to learn that it's really hard to do anything outside of that safe area. So you're going to get really hard. You're going to grow up to be really hard in a literal sense. Your skin's going to get hard. You are going to be mentally hard. You're going to teach yourself defense immediately, You're going to be weary of anything that you cross that's new. And you're not going to trust many things. That's a situational experience. That's what you learn from your situation in that sense.
And I guess morality can be seen as a learned trait because, I mean, let's take alcoholism, for example. Let's say a father, mother, grandmother, grandfather, brother, sister, whatever the case may be. They don't see alcoholism as bad because their mind has been molded to the point of that they need alcohol. And so that rubs off on others. That literally splits off two branches. One person, they don't see it as bad. They become an alcoholic. One person doesn't see it as bad. Or one person sees it as bad, doesn't become an alcoholic. Another person sees it or doesn't see it as bad. They become an alcoholic.
Yeah. Well, that you still get to see. You're very rarely in a situation where, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but there's very rarely situations where there's a kid sitting there learning from a drunk, abusive family, whole family, about specifically alcohol,
I mean, they're seeing what it does.
Sure. Yeah.
Because, I mean, they're at the point, whenever you're at the point of understanding, you're seeing what it does. And then you also see what it doesn't do.
Well, let's say it's not even abusive. Let's just say everybody gets drunk in that family. Then you wouldn't see anything bad with it. You'd see like
that's harmless.
Yeah, exactly. And you literally have been raised to do. Let's say us, for example, we're real big on guns. Okay, we love guns. We're raised on guns. But let's say we were blind in a sense where we never understood guns could hurt people. We always did it for fun, but we never thought about guns being able to hurt people. We'd be in a false idea of safety, of understanding. We'd be, what's the word I'm thinking of? Ignorant to the idea
that guns can hurt people.
Yeah, exactly. So we'd think it'd be great for everybody. So we could start giving everybody guns, and all of society, they're like, well, these people don't need guns. Those people don't need guns, like convicted felons. We don't give them guns because they're dangerous. But in a sense like that, you wouldn't think of it that way.
And it's also more so people are going to find out what they can and can't do with something.
Yeah, true. People are going to do crazy stuff no matter what. Anything, no matter what, really.
They'll probably see neglect, though. How would a mother watch a child while being under the influence? Eventually, they would realize.
Not if something bad, not if there weren't anything bad with the family. If they just got drunk to get drunk, and nothing ever bad happened to the kid wouldn't know better because that's what the kid was raised in. It literally would be the correct way in the kid's mind, because that's just how his canvas was painted. It was just essentially made with that idea in his brain.
I mean, we're all going to get to the point we become self-sufficient.
Yeah, definitely. Eventually, that kid's going to grow up, go into the real world, and from outside experiences, realize it's bad, that he's in a bad situation, and he starts doubting essentially everything he knew. This goes back to doubting everything, somebody knew. It ruins this kid's state of mind, and they lose themselves for a good while until they finally stabilize and find
a sense of understanding.
Exactly. Now, who says what would happen? He could go crazy, shoot up a school. That's an extreme example, but. Or he could just seek help for his situation. He might convert into Christianity or any other religion to find help in that sense and find a purpose in his life that was misunderstood. Or he could go to college and learn as much as he could to see where or what he wanted to do. There's a lot of stuff that could happen in situations like that,
I guess tying this all back to the point of critical theory and judgments and all. To some degree, we need an outside influence.
Yeah, I agree with that. But there needs to be something that messes up our worldview a little bit.
There needs to be something to open our air quote third eye.
Yeah. Give us an outside perspective.
I think you don't need to live your whole life with one mindset. Like, you don't need to see the whole world in itself from one standpoint.
I mean, if there's not, everybody, like we said earlier, becomes boring. It becomes stale, and there is no reason for anything again. It's just you live through life, and then boom, that moment you've been waiting for, it happens, you're done with. And whatever you believed in, you believe in. In reality, that's peaceful, There wouldn't be conflict in a sense, But that's who we are. We're a conflict people. We're human. We get angry.
We have emotions.
Exactly.
We have brains, and we use them to think.
Sometimes. I know a lot of people that don't use it to think.
Right.
But yeah, that's.
But in a sense, we do need judgment, whether it be now, later. Somewhere we need somebody to tell us, hey, that's wrong. Hey, that's right. Hey, that's good. Hey, that's not good.
Whether it's by God or by people, we still need some kind of judgment.
But see, people get to the point of becoming, in a sense, sheltered in their minds. They don't want to become open-minded.
That's a bad idea. That's a bad situation to be in when you are so ignorant and so hearted in your belief that you refuse any other conversation.
Even with the male stigma that's gone on for years and years now, men aren't supposed to cry.
Yeah.
You're a man, you're not supposed to cry. Toughen up, stuff like that.
And when you're like that, when you put your ideas through like that, you put an unnecessary feeling of despair on people. Anyone, not just men. You know, it's a form of judgment, but it's not a good, constructive form of judgment, especially in this day of age. You need to be more willing to help than just be, you're a man, you don't need to cry. Suck it up, you buttercup.
So you got to figure out what the problem is, what's going on, and it's like the same reason with mental health in America today.
There's a lot with that.
Nobody. I'd say nobody cares, but we all have people we can talk to about stuff like this. But like doctors' offices and stuff, they don't care.
They don't. They do it for the money, and that's okay.
They do it for job security.
Yeah.
It was like, for example, I was talking with somebody one day that, like, for instance, I don't necessarily missed an appointment, I think, but it's more so they had to reschedule it like a month out, and I only had a couple of days left of medication. Well, it just made me think that I gotta wait in line to have good mental health.
Yeah, exactly. You're just seen as a number, you know. And to be fair, these people, these individuals that want to help, they do want to help. They do it to help people most of the time, and they're limited. Yeah, welcome back, buddy. But they're limited by the fact of the corporation. Yeah, it's fine. It's just the video that's for
14 views. That's great.
Yeah.
Great number for first episode.
Heck yeah.
But it's very rarely that you find the doctors, therapists, play therapists that genuinely care about your mental well-being. And that can be said with the same as people in society.
Sure.
Very rarely are you going to find somebody that actually cares whether you're doing well or not in life.
I mean, what's the reason? Why would anybody be looking to care about somebody else? What's the point of that?
It's like we're growing into a society today where everybody just cares about themselves.
Exactly.
And it's just a mass opinion thing, not more so a literal sense.
Sure. Like, for example, I care about what y'all people think, the listeners. You know, I care about what Parker right here thinks, but it won't affect me to hear a negative idea from him. You know, it won't affect me in any bad way. The reason that is because I don't care what he thinks in that sense. Now, of course, he's my buddy, and if he honestly says something, I'll take it into consideration. But there's nothing that forces me to do anything that he tells me to do. It's all what I want to do. I think they got a name for that. It's a first person bias.
Yeah, it's like
it doesn't matter unless it directly affects you.
You're lacking a sense of selflessness.
Yeah. Like, for example, the war in Ukraine. There are people dying right now over things that they truly, truly love. But we're sitting here talking about random crap on the internet. I mean, it doesn't affect us. That's the first person bias, you know?
But then you got people out there that are like wanting a first class ticket to Ukraine to help with the war efforts.
Way out of their way. And that's really cool, you know? If you want to help somebody, go way out of your way to do it. Heck yeah, more power to you, brother.
You may gain some kind of benefit from it, but you should never expect anything.
Never. Most of the time when you give, you should give expecting nothing.
Right.
It should be completely selfless.
But then again, if they give back, you shouldn't. I'm not going to say be unwilling to take their gift.
Reluctant.
Be hesitant.
Hesitant.
To
That's
take it.
better. That's easier to say.
We don't English here.
We are not Englishes. But yeah, you don't want to do stuff to expect stuff back. I mean, of course, sometimes, like, let's say jobs. If you're doing a job, you're doing a job. That's it. You're going to do what you need to do to get paid. But take a moment from your day. Go out to a friend's house and be like, hey, I'll clean your yard. Or just clean their yard for free. You know, trash, you see it, just throw it away. And then leave. You don't even got to talk to them. Just make sure you don't throw away the kid's toy because the parents will be angry at you. I speak from experience right here.
And I guess it's more so find a reason to do it, I guess. Like whether it be somebody needs something out of the kindness of your heart. But don't be like flashy with your actions.
Be conservative with your actions. From the public view, at least. Try to do it under the radar as much as you can. Just to keep things on the down low, because you don't want to get it out there, you know. You don't want people coming over to you, hey, you did that for him for free, you know. You just want to be nice, and I think everybody should do something like this to someone. You know, if it's an old person, you know, you haven't seen in forever, just give them a visit. Say, hey, how you doing? It makes them happy, you know.
Or even like we're even growing into a society where self gratification or instant gratification is key, where people are starting to feel like whenever they do an action, they need to be applauded for it. They need to receive some kind of
Participation.
right, some kind of award. Like you see all the time, like people buying houses for homeless people, people giving homeless people cash, food, whatever the case may be. Do it, but don't do it to make yourself seem like a good person.
See, in that instance, sure, it helps that person, and I'm for it. If you want to give a homeless person a whole house, you know, heck yeah, do it. I'm not going to stop you. If you want to film the whole thing, as long as that person gets the house, I don't care what you do. As long as you fulfill that promise of giving that person the house, I don't care what you do. Now, you could build a enterprise off of that.
Be humble, not flashy. Don't ask for anything in return. That's a great moral to go by.
Yeah. You don't want to just...
Because we all have a reason why we have, whether it be the mentality, material possessions that we have today. There's some kind of reason for this. Whether it be religious belief, a spiritual belief, a reasoning of something, good upbringing,
Yeah.
materials handed down from you from past generations.
Essentially, the best way to help somebody, if you're thinking of a good way to help somebody, what is something that's irritating them, that's on their back that they have to deal with?
Or do something that's beneficial for you and them.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a completely selfless act, you know. If it like lines up with what you're doing, like give somebody a ride, you know, if it's besides your work, you know. Don't be like, well, I'm busy, you know. Just take an extra 5 minutes out of your day and do something nice for people.
But don't be weird with it.
Yeah, don't be weird. Oh, God. Walk up to somebody and just be like, hey, buddy, you taking your trash out yet? You know, the next day you come back, hey, I'm here to, you got trash?
Here to watch you take trash. Here to watch you do this very specific action at this specific time.
Every specific day.
At each interval of which you do it.
Casually.
Or I'm here to help you.
I'm here to
assist.
I'm here to watch you casually conduct.
I'm here to watch you or listening to you casually conduct a podcast.
Whoa, that's crazy. It's almost like we're doing that.
Whoa!
Whoa! Get loud now. Ooh. flashy. That was good. I think we're having fun. Yeah, I think we've had a good little podcast.
That's going to be all today for Casually Conducting. I think we're going to be doing this about the same time, just about every Sunday, about 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Join in, give us some ideas, give us some feedback, give us some talk.
Okay. Leave comments. Go subscribe to the Casually Conducting YouTube channel because we're going to be streaming there next week. And, well, we hope everybody has a good day.
Good evening, good week,
good night,
good month,
good everything. Because we'll see y'all again next week. So y'all have a good one. And we're out.